Hey all, just wanted to try this out with all the wonderful brains on this app. Been trying to speak and write a little more concisely, and there are specific terms or concepts that I can't seem to come up with a more concise or singular word to represent. So my first question is, does anyone have a more concise way of saying read the room? Like someone is having a hard time reading the room right now.
I'm sure there's a single word for that in Japanese, but read the room already seems fairly compact. There's a great line in Snow Crash where Juanita says that he had the ability to condense fact from the vapor of nuance. So that's kind of cool. Maybe nuance?
Intuition is the word that comes to mind for me, but read the room is fairly concise. I have to agree with Naval on that one.
This kind of brings me to another question. What is the difference between reading the room or somebody who's able to read the room versus somebody who's street smart? I think both of them would end up implying the same thing. I have a very colorful dictionary of my definitions. So whenever somebody around me is not able to read the room, I ask them, are you visually impaired? And nobody usually gets that.
Hey, Joe. Another great room. Thank you for creating it. I agree that read the room is already pretty concise. If you're looking for a fewer words approximation, I would say tune in or scan.
Vibe is what a lot of the young kids around me like to say, whether that's sensing a vibe from someone or a group of people, or picking up vibes from somebody.
Something like perspicacious, or just something to do with perception or an awareness or an astute awareness of perception. But I don't know. English is my second language. I think street smart comprises of a lot more other skills than just read the room. So I think, be able to sense danger and hone on intuition, be able to act fast and improvise like that. Those kind of things I would call street smart as well. Because you can imagine, let's say you're a drug dealer around the corner and you see like a rival gang member across the street and he's like looking at you and just being able to pick that up. Reading the room would be more like going into a meeting with your clients and you kind of see them more serious and you act serious accordingly. So I think street smart is more all-encompassing in terms of the ability to be very comfortable and improvise and secure whatever comes.
Well, I think let's talk about what concise means just real quick, because it's not necessarily about economy at the expense of total amount of information communicated clearly, right? Like a very compact symbol system has problems communicating information because there isn't enough redundancy to really clear out the arguments that are being made. So I'm 100% in favor of concision, pithiness, and whatnot, but it's like that Feynman quote, as concise as it can be, and still sufficiently represent what you're trying to communicate, but no conciser, because you can bring things down to one word, but I don't know. There's a reason languages work the way they do, and like even telecommunication systems, there's meant to be some redundancy in there. And not only is it necessary for communications, it's more pleasant to the human animal.
That's awesome, everyone. Thanks so much. Lots of words here I didn't even think about. Here's another one, but this one might be a little polarizing, so I'm really testing the waters here. I personally feel like the word mentor has been a little too abused and used in a lot of connotations that don't necessarily reflect what the word initially meant. And there are a lot of people in my life that aren't necessarily mentors, but they reached out and gave me a helping hand when they didn't need to. And I even straight up asked them or told them a few times, you were like a mentor. And they said, no, I wasn't. And I find that funny too. I guess it didn't really give enough context there. Yeah. It's like sort of a person who, when you were a little low and you reached out for help to someone who had no business being involved in your life, and they show you kindness and a little guidance, and you're not really in touch with them that much, but maybe you reach out to them once or twice every year or every few years, and they just kind of give you all their energy without demanding anything in return. So I had a few of those kinds of people in my life. They're unsung heroes, and I'm trying to come up with a word other than mentor for them.
Hey, Joe. I would say that if you wanted to make Read the Room more concise, to me, it's about empathy. I think empathy is the key to reading the room and tuning into people, as other people have suggested, used words like intuition, vibes. So yeah, to me, being able to read the room is about having empathy. I've had people in my life like this, and depending on the nature of my relationship outside of those specific events, I have referred to them as confidants or even as a big brother type. And there's a lovely expression that a good friend of mine often uses to describe what people do in these situations, which is holding the lantern, which I think is a great expression, because oftentimes these people are not telling you what to do or giving you specific advice, but they just hold the lantern in a certain direction, and it can be really helpful.
I call these my power people.